Hey, this is Pat, and today we're checking out the LS2 Subverter EVO helmet. Now, the Subverter EVO replaced the ever-popular Subverter helmet within LS2's line with a couple key updates, but overall the style remained the same, and as an entry-level to mid-tier dirt lid, I think the Subverter can be a great option for a lot of riders out there with the overall style, the immense ventilation going all the way through the shell, and the features that you're getting all for the $200 price point, which is exactly the same as the Subverter was when it originally launched. So the Subverter EVO is bringing a couple updates to the table, but using the same general shell structure that we saw with the original LS2. Now, if you're looking at this lid, this is going to be made out of a KPA shell. Now, that is a kinetic polymer alloy, and what they're using is it's thermoplastic with a little bit of aramid fibers reinforcing, and you get a nice strong shell with a little bit of flexibility, which is what you want to help absorb those impacts. Comes in 3 shell sizes: extra small to small, medium and large share one, and then extra large up to 3XL is its own shell size, and right around 3 pounds 5 ounces in a size medium. But the one thing I want to call out is it's a little bit longer oval in the fitment, so you got a little bit more space front to back than you do side to side than your average intermediate oval fitment in the US market. So anybody out there that needs a little bit extra forehead space inside their helmet, take a look at the Subverter EVO. It might just be the great option for you to get that right fit. And if again you're getting a helmet that fits properly, it's going to be something you're not thinking about on the trail and while you're riding, making it a little bit safer just to focus on it. But if you have any questions about sizing, we do have our how to size and buy video out there for helmets. Go take a look at that one. That'll help you get all squared away if this is your first helmet that you're looking for. But all in, style-wise, it's a super aggressive dirt lid. Again, coming in at that $200 price point, I think you get a lot of style. Reminds me of the old Aero helmets of 10, 15 years ago that we used to see on riders like Anderson and a few other supercross riders out there. Big jaw at the front line, but 2 large scoops coming into the chin vents. And ventilation is one of the key parts for your average to entry-level rider out there. You're gonna be sweating a lot on the trail, especially if you're new to the trail. You have 9 intake vents and 13 exhaust vents on this helmet. So one of the most ventilated entry-level to mid-level helmets we've seen on the market. Really, when you get into high-level ventilated helmets like the Bell Moto 10, you're up in that $800 price point. So considering this is in the $200 price point, adding in ventilation, I think it does extremely well. And I mentioned before, really large jawline. One thing I want to call out is you can see I've removed it on this white version that I'm shooting. On the black version over on my left, you can see it does come with these extra tabs that just protect it in transit. They protect these lower jowl protectors. So just keep that in mind. You want to remove that. There's one at the back as well. That's just something they do for shipping, so make sure you're removing that before you actually use the helmet on the trail. But again, looking at the shell, nice sleek design when it comes to it, a lot of ventilation throughout, and a big old flat area on the back of the helmet that gives you a great area for the goggle strap to go ahead and rest on the back. If we spin around to the front, you do have an adjustable peak. What I like about the adjustable peak is it's got a ton of flex into it in case it catches any branches or trees. It is plastic screws that will shear away. Again, for any new riders out there, you want that to happen. You want it to shear away so it doesn't pull your neck and give you whiplash. You want it to break off fairly easy just so it doesn't hurt the head. Even though it'll damage the helmet, it's not something that's gonna hurt your head or neck. But you can adjust it forward and back, both on the top screw as well as the sides. You can slide it forward, you can slide it up and down, and it does have a release tab that you can make it a little bit easier for toolless swapping on the trail side or adjusting on the trail side if you need to do so. Spin it up to the top and you can really see all the ventilation I was talking about. You got a couple that are going to be great for focusing air in to the top of the helmet and get that airflow through. A couple other that are going to help suck exhaust air out on those hotter days. You're going to get that air flowing through. But all in, again, if you look down at the hawksbill, it matches the rest of the aggressive nature of the shell. You do have that cutaway that's going to protect from your collarbones. It's less helmet. If it's a flat surface, that helmet can really hit your collarbones and break them. It doesn't take much force to do so. So I like that they're factoring that in at this price point. They're adding in some good engineering that we've seen from higher price points and more premium helmets out there on the market. But before we get into anything else, let's take a look at the interior here. You do have a pretty standard double D-ring closure at the neckline. And as we remove the cheek pads, you can see it's 3 snaps on the back. Really small profile, but a nice contour to it. It's gonna be very comfortable, especially if you're riding for extended hours on the trail. I'll remove the other side. One thing I want to call out though, there's no speaker pockets on the inside of this helmet. Typically we would like to see that, especially with modern helmets, just giving people the option if you're communicating with your buddies on the trail. I'm not that upset about it because there is plenty of space to add them in, but it won't be recessed in there. So if you are looking for a helmet with speaker pockets, keep that in mind. These don't come with it. Couple snaps at the rear, and then the brow vent just snaps out of place. I'll try to do this without breaking it. And I do like that there's no snaps up at the forehead that can cause pressure points. These are all brow mounted and actually have diffusers to help push air through the ventilation port and up into the top of the helmet. So I do like that. A couple snaps at the rear, but again, pretty standard interior liner to match the cheek pads. When we look at the interior, that's where you're gonna notice the biggest differences from the older Subverter to the Subverter EVO. The older version had what we used to call a hard candy shell that mimicked rotational impact. It helped the liner slide. They had to get rid of that a few years ago, but what LS2 is saying is that the interior is able to crumple and actually absorb that impact on its own. But still, at the $200 price point, I would have loved to seen a MIPS interior liner, something just to give it a little bit of slip in the interior. But you can tell tons of channels in the EPS that's gonna help match all the ventilation on the exterior of the helmet. That's gonna help get all that air flowing through across the top of your head and out of the back of the helmet. But that is the LS2 Subverter EVO. Coming in at the $200 price point, I really like what LS2 is throwing at this helmet. Tons of ventilation, good amount of features, especially for that price point. It's something you typically see in $300–400 helmets. So I like that it's coming in around the $200. If I had one gripe, LS2, if you're listening, I'd love to see maybe a 2206 update to this helmet, as well as a MIPS liner on the inside for some sort of rotational impact protection. That's getting pretty key nowadays and something shoppers are looking for. I think that would be a great addition to this lid. But if you have any other questions, click that info button. That's going to take you to the product page. You can read other rider reviews about riders putting hours in their Subverter EVO helmets. And if you still have questions after that, our customer service team is available. They're all riders, happy to help you get set up for your next ride. But first, I want to thank you for joining me and taking a look at the LS2 Subverter EVO helmet. I'm Pat, and I'll see you in the next video.